Uh, Hello, everyone. I'm Andrej. I'm a software engineer, baking since 2008 and working on SaaS products. This is my fourth offline CakeFest. Happy to be here. And today, I'm going to talk about building a low-code API-based SaaS using CakePHP. So first of all, what is low-code? No-code and low-code are software development approaches that allow users to build applications with minimal or no programming knowledge. No-code platforms enable users to create applications using graphical interfaces and pre-built templates without writing any code. And low-code platforms provide a similar user-friendly environment, but allows for some custom coding to extend functionality and customization. Both approaches aim to speed up development and make it more accessible to non-developers. And what is an API-based SaaS? So SaaS is a software as a service, and then API-based SaaS is a software delivery model where the main interaction with the service is through an API. This allows developers to integrate the service's functionalities into their own applications or systems without needing to use a graphical user interface. Examples of such SaaSes is SwiftCode's API, which provides an access to database of banking codes, both international and local. And another example is WeatherBeat, which provides an API for weather forecasts, and Open Exchange Rates is an API for currency exchange rates. And so all these three examples basically provide a read-only access to some valuable data set. And what we are going to build today is a minimum viable product of a SaaS providing an API access to the database of countries and cities for registered users. And the goal is to utilize CakePHP and its plugins and build an MVP writing as few lines of code as possible. The requirements for the app are, so it has to be a web app, it needs to have user registration and login, and it has to provide a RESTful API to the list of countries and cities. And authentication needs to be done via an API token, and it needs to support JSON and XML formats, and it needs to have a basic admin dashboard. Let's start. Let's create a new Cake project and run the local server. Okay, we are running, and let's set up the database connection. Yep, so we got database connection. And so for this demo, I already prepared the database. It's basically two tables, pretty simple schema, countries with names and country codes and cities for the countries. What's next? Let's bake some models for those tables. And let's create some index template and show something. Cool. Let's add some copy for the index page. Here we go. And let's start with our API. We're going to use Friends of Cake CRUD plugin. It's a production-grade rapid controller development with the built-in love with the API and search. So let's install the plugin and bake some controllers for our API. Let's update the routes to other API routes.
Could you zoom a bit?
Oh, yep. So as you can see, we're adding API prefix and adding JSON and XML extensions, and then adding a resource route for our countries and the nested route for cities. Then let's create an API controller, which is going to be our base controller, and other API controllers are going to extend it. So here we're basically loading the CRUD component and enabling actions. So as it's going to be only read-only API, we only need index and view actions. And we're also enabling listeners for API and API pagination. And let's update the cities controller. So since we are going to use a nested route for listing cities, we need to pass country ID from the route and list only the cities for this country. And let's see what we got. Oh, okay. We forgot to extend the API controller. So here we got the API response for list of the cities. And as you can see, we have already pagination here. So we can do things like that to return more results and go through the pages. And so this is the JSON response. And as you can see, you got XML support straight away as well. And for the list of cities, we can use a nested route and list cities for Luxembourg. So currently this API is open for everyone, but we want to make it only accessible for users, registered users. So next we're going to install a CakeDC users plugin. And enable it in our application. So we are basically loading the plugin and telling it to use our custom users config. And let's create the config. So here basically disabling authorization for simplicity purposes and telling it to use our custom users table. I will see later why. And we tell it to not validate email address also for this demo purposes. And now let's run migrations and create our custom model. And we'll need to update the default profile template. I will see later why. So let's copy this template from the users plugin. So now we need to update our created users model and basically make it extend the plugins model and add some stuff. This. Don't need anything here. And same here. So why we did that? So users table from users plugin already comes with an API token field, but it doesn't get filled. So what we want to do is when a new user is created, we want to generate a new API token. So here we're basically adding a before rule, and if it's a new entity, we generate a new API token for it. Also, let's load our authentication component in the API controller. Let's add identity helper. We'll need it later. And let's update the menu in the default layout. And let's see what we got. So as you can see, we cannot access the API endpoint anymore because it requires authentication. And now we got the menu here. Let's create an account. Let's log in. Okay, so we go to profile page, but there is no API token to see. So let's display it. So now we've got the API token and can try using it. So authentication with API key passed by query string is enabled in the user's login by default, so we don't need to do anything for that. So as you can see now, we've got the list of countries using an API token. So what's next? Let's create some basic admin dashboard. For this, we're gonna use CRUD View plugin, which is basically an add-on for the CRUD plugin. Let's install it. And let's bake some controllers for our dashboard. And same as for the API, we're going to extend the admin controller. So first of all, let's update the admin controller to enable the CRUD View plugin. So here we are basically doing the same thing, similar thing as we did in the API controller. We're loading CRUD component and enabling the actions. So here we can do add, edit, and delete. So we enable all those actions. We enable CRUD View listener and redirectories listener and related models. Also, we set the tables config to only handle those tables. We don't want to handle like things tables and things like that. So we only interested in users, countries, and cities. And we set we blacklist password field so we don't display it anywhere. And we also enable authentication and also make it accessible only for super user accounts. And we will load the CRUD view. Also, we need to update the routes to add our admin routes. So we just add another prefix, admin prefix, and set fallbacks. And update our menu to only display the dashboard link to the super users. Okay, so we're ready. Let's generate a super user account and try it out. Super admin. So we're logged in as a simple user now, so there's no dashboard link here. So we log out and log in with our super admin user. And now there is a dashboard link. Okay, we need to extend the admin controller. And here we got a basic dashboard. It's not pretty, but hey, it's an MVP. And now we can list what we've got in our database, add new items, view, edit, delete, and stuff like that. And as you saw, we created no templates, we baked no templates, so it's all dynamic. As soon as you add a new table, you can easily enable it. You can whitelist and blacklist fields that you want to make accessible for view or for editing, so it's really easily configurable and powerful. So we got our MVP running. What's missing? We probably, for the production app, you probably want to use some front-end framework. There is a Bootstrap UI plugin for that. You probably would want to use some search to filter countries or cities by name or by whatever, if you have more attributes. And API is only as good as its documentation. You can use this Swagger PHP package to generate open API specification file for it, and then use different tools to generate a UI for this documentation. And throttling, there is a plugin for throttling. You probably want to set some rate limits for API to prevent users from abusing it. And data transformation layer, there is a plugin by myself which integrates fractal transformer into CakePHP. So if you want to transform your data before outputting it, like formatting and adding related models, stuff like that in your API, so you can use that. And also for a SaaS, you probably want to add payments. Stripe PHP package is pretty easy to work with, and you can use Stripe billing portal also for simplicity, and it's really just a few lines of code to get it running. And yeah, of course you need tests. I skipped that for the purpose of the demonstration. And so what is the conclusion? CakePHP is a great low-code platform for quick prototyping. With its convention over configuration approach, you can get your MVP up and running with minimum effort. And it's suitable for both junior developers and more experienced developers to just get it out quickly. And rich ecosystem of high-quality production-grade plugins can offer a solution for pretty much every typical problem in web development. And at the same time, it's a full-featured framework that is ready to accommodate any complex product when the time comes. Thank you. That was me.